the game is clear. He's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a weekend of cheer. He's the leader that everyone fears. Quickly, it's a real heater. Once my friend, he's a locker room leader. In the chaos, he's the center, turning us into believers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday night. It is 7 p.m. As we make our way to the Raw Patrol, it is time for the Locker Room Breakdown, the show where we review everything that happened last week, preview everything tonight for the first Raw of the post-John Cena era. Ladies and gentlemen, we bore witness on Saturday night to John Cena's farewell. So the only thing left to say here before we get started is let's go to work. Last week, as we geared up for Saturday night's main event and John Cena's last match, the last time is now, we had chaos. Chaos absolutely reigned. Some things I absolutely loved. It was actually one of the better shows we had had in a couple of weeks, as we had a very lackluster week leading up to and including Survivor Series War Games. Let's start off with Gunther's promo as he opened the show. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a video from John Cena retorting to Gunther. I wasn't sure if we were going to get an added appearance from John on this. But Gunther came out and said, "You haven't seen everything I've got. I am going to do so much more to you. I'm going to break your spirit, and I'm going to make you give up." We did not get a John Cena response. Instead, we waited until Saturday. We didn't even get an interview with John Cena pre-match on Saturday. John Cena was there to let his actions do the talking. But this promo from Gunther was fiery, was emotional. Maybe the best Gunther promo I have ever heard. And ladies and gentlemen, what can I say? Gunther delivered on Saturday. But ladies and gentlemen, Gunther was short, sweet, and to the point. 10 minutes, the promo was done, and he was making his way back to the locker room. That's what we need, ladies and gentlemen. More of that and then into the action. Less of these 25, 30-minute promos to open the show. And I know the WWE have done a far better job of limiting those to start the show for quite some time. But still, to keep it that short, sweet, and to the point, this was fantastic. I loved it. For Gunther, it was an honor to go into that match and be the guy to have the opportunity to retire Cena. But is this what we see from Gunther now? Is he going to be the guy to retire an AJ Styles next year? Is he going to be the guy to retire a Shinsuke Nakamura? If, and this is a big if, we get the return of Chris Jericho, is that a road that Gunther goes down? I do not want to see Gunther be the champion of retirement, so to speak. I want Gunther to get himself back to that championship picture and not have to worry about retiring everybody. Another intriguing name that I heard and read last night, though I am still awaiting confirmation on a potential retirement for next year, and it would be a retirement at SummerSlam, and that is Brock Lesnar. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I necessarily need or want Gunther for that. I want Gunther, like I said, to get himself back to the world title picture, not focus on retiring legends. We've already had the legend killer in Randy Orton. We don't need the legend retirer in Gunther. Up next, our opening contest, and I've said it before, I've said it again. The women always set the bar in WWE. We got two women who are very, very familiar with each other in the opening contest. A lot of history going back to their days in Japan. Io Sky and Kairi Sane. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, holy crow. I'm one that is not for having a lot of, family versus family or a lot of repeat matches, but this was a situation where there was a lot more invested into it because you've got Kairi Sane, who is one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions in the Kabuki Warriors, her and Asuka. Please retire. So there is a little bit more at stake in this situation. And these two women absolutely delivered. Whether it was their high flying, whether it was their ground and pound, whether it was their technical, these two women delivered it all. This match very, very easily could have been the match of the night, except for the interference at the end of it. And I'm going to reiterate what Karl Karufel said last week during the Raw Patrol was enough of this. We don't need it. This just, again, broke right down. And where is the payoff in all of this? Like, are we now going to get... We had Asuka interfere with then Rhea Ripley coming out, chasing her away. Io Sky was able to pick up the win. But again, we don't need all of this interference during these matches. These women were having a fantastic match, and that interference took away from it. Now, I do hope that we are going to get the announcement of the team of Rio and the Kabuki Warriors, or more, potentially being involved for the January 5th episode of Raw. That seems to be the next monumental occasion for WWE, the 1-year anniversary show of Raw on Netflix. Do we get any other teams in there? Do we get a Bayley and a Lyra? Do we get Nia and Lash? Do we get Charlotte and Alexa? Do we make it a six-pack challenge? Do we make it a ladder match? There is a lot to unpack here. Do we get the Judgment Day getting their noses back in on the Women's Tag Team Championships? Very, very intriguing. A lot to be said. But you don't need to do it for every match. When it is called for, do it, but don't do it for every situation, especially involving these two or these four women, because it's not needed. You can have the challenge laid out. You can have emotional promos. You can have them getting in each other's faces, but you don't need all of these matches turning into a brouhaha at the end. Backstage, Logan Paul with the Vision, and Logan Paul was irate at what happened the previous week when Rey Mysterio slapped the taste out of his mouth. Logan Paul said, this needs to be addressed. How are we going to do it? Bronson Reed stepped up. Braun Breaker stepped up. Paul Heyman handed Logan Paul his brass knuckles. Logan Paul says this gets handled tonight. Mr. Best coming in saying you need every match to be a brouhaha. No, he's just kidding. You were there. Mr. Best, we saw a match that had two tag team partners at ringside this past Saturday, and absolutely no interference, absolutely no brouhaha, and it was perhaps the match of the night. But Logan Paul then did tell Paul Heyman this business gets handled tonight. Yes, it was beautiful to see. We absolutely loved it. So, what was going to happen with Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio? We knew Rey Mysterio was slated for a match with Finn Balor, which we thought was actually later in the night. It happened to come up next. As Rey was making his way to the ring to get ready to go one-on-one with Finn Balor. And again, ladies and gentlemen, last week I said it was not a match I needed. It's Rey Mysterio sticking close to the Judgment Day, and I need him to branch off into something else. And I hope that this is a way to do that. Logan Paul blindsided Rey Mysterio. Just waylaid him, left him laying at ringside, which meant Finn Balor didn't need to come out. Now, this continued on for a little bit, with Rey getting in a little bit of offense on Logan, until the Man in Black came around. And I'm not talking about Johnny Cash, folks. The Man in Black came around and once again hit Rey Mysterio with the stomp. And Logan Paul was able to lay Rey out. Then we were interrupted by L.A. Knight. Yeah. And Knight, again, kept it short, sweet, to the point. Enough of this. Let's you and me settle this in the ring tonight. This is a legend. And our main event for the evening was set. LA Knight versus Logan Paul. And there is a whole lot to unpack in that main event tonight. Or last week. This was huge. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, for my money, the match of the night with one little flaw. The team of AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending their World Tag Team Championships against the War Raiders. It was great to see the War Raiders back on TV. We haven't seen them in quite some time, and it was something missing from the tag division. One flaw in this match was Dragon Lee trying to lift Ivar up onto his shoulders, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And he struggled with it. But this match was high-flying, it was ground and pound, it was technical, everything you would expect from these 4. And it was brilliant. It was a masterclass in storytelling. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee solidifying themselves as fighting champions as they want to defend the titles against deserving teams. Going into this match, we found out as well that at Saturday night's main event, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee were going to take on the team of NXT's Javon Evans and the TNA X Division champion, Leon Slater. And wow, that was the shocker. And this was absolutely huge. All 4 teams, or both teams, back and forth between AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and of course the War Raiders. Everybody really having the opportunity to hit everything, do everything they needed to do, get the point across, the psychology, the masterclass, the respect. This was not a brouhaha. This did not have everybody else coming out. Bit of a detraction was the New Day sitting beside the commentary desk, although they were not on commentary. It was a bit of a distraction because you would have the camera consistently panning over to them instead of truly focusing on everything that was happening in the match. In the end, it was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee winning. And again, although there was physicality, but we had the New Day then come and get in the ring saying they wanted the next shot. They wanted a rematch for those tag team championships. When all of a sudden we were hit again with the music of Uso, Jimmy and Jay made their way back to the ring, and they said, "We're re-entering the tag division." Jimmy went on to go and list a lot of the failures that they have both had individually and as a team over the last few months. Jay's frustration was not evident, but you could see something was eating at him, and I don't think that speech is sitting right with Jimmy. Or Jay, I'm sorry. But we had them standing toe-to-toe, so we had these 3 teams all looking nose-to-nose with each other, where we did get a match made for tonight, and we will cover that in just a little while on the preview section of the show. But the Usos are back. Do we see this lasting long term? I don't know. You have worked to push Jay to a certain level, or he got himself over organically, and then you work to push him to an upper level that's included an Intercontinental and a World Heavyweight Championship run. And now I don't know if relegating is the right word, but moving him back to the tag division, something's not sitting right with me. Next up, we had Stephanie Vicaire, our women's world heavyweight championship, come out, cut a promo saying, I'm not the best because I am the champion. I am the best because of the work I put into this, because of everything I do to master this craft. She dropped a bunch of names, including Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Natalya, Io, and Nikki. And again, Nikki Bella interrupted, saying, no, we're far from done. In fact, I'm out here to challenge you to a rematch, when Nikki got blindsided. So I've said it before. Now, this was a promo, but we don't need all of these shenanigans. We've already had Rey Mysterio waylaid at ringside and in the ring. We've had Rhea and Io. We've had the women's singles match to open the show breakdown. And we get more of it? Really? But Raquel Rodriguez blasts Nikki Bella and then throws her shoulder first into the ring post and steps up to Stephanie Vicaire. I'm all for this match. I really am. I am a huge Raquel Rodriguez fan. I have been since she was in NXT. But this is intriguing to me as well because, again, is this just another crack in the foundation of the Judgment Day? Right after that, we saw Raquel make her way back into the Judgment Day clubhouse, and Liv asked, what are you doing? Raquel said she was taking what's hers because Nikki Bella interfered the last time she had her title shot. This was not something that had been discussed within the Judgment Day. So it left Liv confused as to, okay, are we all just calling our own shots now? And then Liv instead looked at Roxanne and said, let's go. Asked where they were going. Liv's response was, well, since Raquel's going after the title, looks like you and I are going after the tag team championships. So Liv Morgan accompanied Roxanne Perez to the ring for her one-on-one match with Lyra Valkyria. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, by the end of 2026, I believe that both of these women will wear a women's world championship. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this was a case of the women set the bar. The match of the night was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus the War Raiders. This match, very, very, very close second. Back and forth. The technical ability, the youth of these two women was really, really evident. Both of these women have really learned, studied, mastered their craft. And I will happily watch this match again and again and again. In the end, it was Roxanne pulling the win out because of interference from Liv Morgan, who did get an eye rake on Lyra Valkyria. I'm not upset. I would have been happy had either of them won. But does this now slide Bayley and Lyra down in the tag team title hunt? Does this elevate the Judgment Day? Does it put Roxanne into a position to maybe step in when Raquel is finished with Stephanie Vicaire to get that world heavyweight title shot? Does it put Raquel in a position to perhaps, or not Raquel, sorry, Roxanne in a position to challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, regardless of who the champion is. After that, we go to another vignette of Maxine Dupri training, and I thought the video the previous week needed to be just a little bit shorter. This one was, again, seeing glimpses of the Natalya we are seeing outside of WWE, with, again, Maxine tapping a bunch of trainees. And in this time as well, she actually made Natty tap, got up and said, again. I really, really hope we are building to a newer, more dangerous tag team with Natty and Maxine, as well with Maxine's, for me, credibility now as a wrestler. I've said it before, I'll say it again. She is the most improved women's wrestler since Liv Morgan. Where does this go? Again, I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us tonight. This is going to be huge. On to our main event, which really happened early. They had a lot of time for the main event. But again, it was what happened after the match that has everybody talking. Logan Paul, L.A. Knight. Yeah. This was a match, again, kicked off before the ref even had a chance to ring the bell, before L.A. Knight had the chance to get his vest off. But this was a good, solid, back-and-forth match. And I posed the question is, who is Logan Paul's Star Maker match? Has it happened? We know he's had the matches. Or is it yet to be determined? The consensus for us at Turnbuckle Affiliation Program was it has yet to happen. Logan Paul is a future champion. He is truly a star, and I'm going to say this, he is not just a star in the making, he is a star. He is going to be a bona fide main eventer, a Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner, King of the Ring, whatever you want to do with it. He could have them all. This was a match that I thoroughly enjoyed. But again, it's the numbers, because Logan Paul was accompanied by Paul Heyman. Logan Paul came out on his own, but we did see Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed make their way out to the ring. And LA Knight just lost focus. He distracted himself. Yes, they got up on the apron, but he went after them. And you cannot do that. You have to focus on the match at hand, not on everybody else at ringside. Eventually, the ref did toss Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But for the second time, our man in black showed up. Once again, delivering the stomp. This time to LA Knight, allowing Logan Paul to hit his finisher, the frog splash, and pick up the win. At which point, Breaker and Reed came back out, and they continued to waylay on LA Knight? No. At which point, Paul Heyman took the mic. Did an introduction for Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul. And Braun Breaker then took the mic and cut a promo for his January 5th match with CM Punk. This was the promo I have been waiting for from Braun Breaker. He was clear, he was articulate, he remembered everything, he hit every point. He didn't stumble over his words. This was the promo. As Braun was cutting the promo, we went backstage and we saw the refs and backstage officials assisting LA Knight. At which point, Logan Paul and Bronson Reed ran to the back and continued the assault. Eventually going out to the parking lot, and much like we saw a little over a year ago, Braun Breaker hit a tsunami on LA Knight on top of a car. That, ladies and gentlemen, was how we went out. That is what has everyone talking. What is going to happen tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll break it all down here in just a few minutes. But right now, I need you to take a look at this.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com. Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever wanted your break in podcasting, content creation, a potential collaboration, or just help us out behind the scenes, Lord knows we could use it, Mr. Best has his hands full. Then turnbucklestudios.org is the place to be for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs. Meet the team. Chris Best, Chris Parrish, Carl Carafel, Bubba Duke, and myself. Get all of our socials, watch our latest weekly episodic shows, including this one, which will be uploaded a little later tonight. Hit the shop button to go to carlcarafel.redbubble.com. Support your favorite shows, support your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. And ladies and gentlemen, smash that join button. Send us your credentials. Tell us how you can help us, how we can help you. And we can sit down as a collaborative and figure out the best fit. Turnbucklestudios.org, ladies and gentlemen, for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs. On to tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And I am intrigued. I am intrigued. We are going to get some championships on the line tonight. Stephanie Vicaire will defend the title against Raquel Rodriguez. Does Raquel have what it takes? Do Roxanne and Liv get involved? Does Nikki Bella get involved? Again, I really, really hope not, but that remains to be seen. I do think that Stephanie Vicaire is going to walk out with the Women's World Championship, but if she does not have any backup, I could very, very easily see the title changing hands. And I would be intrigued to see what they do with Raquel as the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. As well, the most improved wrestler in the women's division, Maxine Dupree, will defend the Women's Intercontinental Championship against a returning Ivy Nile. Again, these two women have a lot of history. At one time, they were part of a conglomerate as American Made and the Alpha Academy were slowly dissolving into each other. We know that they've gone to war before, but that was with the old Maxine. This new Maxine is going to leave it all out there. This is Ivy Nile's first match back in quite some time. I'm really, really, again, intrigued to see where this goes. I really don't want Maxine to be a transitional champion. I want her to have a 3 to 4 month run, but you can build off of this match. Do the Creed brothers get involved for Ivy Nile? Do Tozawa and Otis make their return for Maxine, as we have not seen them competing on TV in quite some time? Reliving an old rivalry, ladies and gentlemen. What's old is new again. The New Day and the Usos tonight in tag team action. Do the Usos get themselves on track as a tag team? Do the New Day prove that the chemistry that they've got now, having been working together for the last 2 years still, does that come into play? Does the Grayson Waller effect come into play here as well? Normally, I would be sitting there saying, I don't need this match. This was something that, we got tons of. But it's what's old is new again, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reunited Usos with a united New Day in a match we haven't seen in quite some time. I am intrigued, but I am going to go out on a very, very big branch here, and I'm giving the win to the New Day. I just don't think that you're going to have the cohesion and the chemistry with the Usos, as they are both trying to be singles wrestlers. I think you need to continue with Jay as a singles wrestler, not necessarily getting frustrated, not having him lose a lot, but start building him. This guy worked to get himself over organically, and then you pushed him. I think this may be that sticking point, and I am going to take the New Day to take the win in this tag team match. As well, the match that was interrupted last week, Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor, we're not getting it. tonight we are getting Rey Mysterio one-on-one with Logan Paul. With what happened 2 weeks ago, with what happened last week, tonight does this come to a head, or is this just Rey breaking away from his focus on the Judgment Day? And I hope so. I really, really hope so. How is LA Knight's health? Is he going to be available to watch Rey's back? Will the Man in Black show up? Again, ladies and gentlemen, all we can do is tune in to the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern over on the Turnbuckle Studios YouTube and Twitch and Kick. And we'll find out together, because I will be there. They do have history. Logan Paul and Rey did wrestle a number of years ago in Saudi Arabia as well. So this is going to be a very, very intriguing match. Is this our main event, or should we keep one of the title matches for it? As well, ladies and gentlemen, we will hear from Gunther after retiring John Cena. Does he continue to garner heat? Does he come out there and say, I did what I said I was going to do? Or does he come out there, offer Cena some respect, say thank you for letting me be the one? I'm leaning towards he is going to try and build himself some real heat and find himself a new target, potentially for January the 5th. Where do we go with Gunther from here? Like I said, I hope he is not going to be the legend retirer. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, making his return to Raw 2 weeks out from Survivor Series, CM Punk. He's more than likely to address the Braun Breaker situation, the Logan Paul situation, the beatdowns, all of that from them. Again, do we get the Man in Black? Do we get the Vision getting in his face? It all remains to be seen. What I do know is CM Punk is going to be fired up. He is going to be PO'd. He is going to be angry, and he is going to let it be known. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make my way out of here and head over to Turnbuckle Studios for the Raw Patrol with Mr. Best. Why don't you all join me? Please remember, ladies and gentlemen, the world is better with you in it. From myself, from the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and from everyone at Turnbuckle Studios, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck.
Up the hand so true, loyal until his friend goes number 2. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer.